All right. So quick play. All right, there we go. So tonight, what we're working on is, for me, is Scorpius, and there's a reason why I have Chase at Hunter, because really, uh, if you take a look at it, the Scorpius constellation follows Orion a little bit. So, and there's a reason for the mythology for that, and we'll talk about that in just a little bit. So Scorpius history. Well, it's pretty interesting because goes all the way back to the Babylonians. This again was also one of the original 48 that we spoke about this a couple of weeks ago. I think Eric and I have both hit on it. That
Yep, probably.
Ptolemy's original 48 constellations. We know that there's 88 constellations in the sky right now. And there is 38 that are considered northern. There are the rest that are considered southern. And believe it or not, Scorpius is actually considered, even though you can see it from northern latitudes, is considered to be a southern hemisphere constellation. It goes all the way back to the Babylonian times. It's really kind of cool how far back this thing goes. So in the Babylonian language, it was actually called Mulger Tab. And those are the phonetic way of saying the way they wrote, because they wrote in pictures. All right. Let me get back to here. So here it is, Mulger Tab, and that's what it would look like, right? So the Ger sign, that depicts a sword or a dagger. It's used as an element in names of all types of blades, and is led to have Scorpius be called the Sword of Heaven. So that's what the mole part means. Um, the the I'm sorry, the tab sign has a really wide range of meanings. It could be used to write a verb, to double, or like twin, like Gemini, or companion. But there's other common meanings that could be kind of translated, that they kind of found out what it might mean. And then maybe a little bit more relevant to Scorpius, where could also mean to burn up, or a fire, or a fever, or a sting. So the combination of gur tab probably means something like sharp weapon, or sharp sword, or something like that. Or burning sting, if you think about it, because the scorpion stinger is sharp. So another reference to the stinger there. So the Mulger tab again, is basically saying, the creature with a burning sting. Because I'm sorry, the Mul was creature, Gur was sword, and tab was the burning. So that's what it means. It was kind of interesting when I heard about that, and I kind of did some research on it. So the brightest star is Antares, or the heart of the scorpion. Scorpion, sorry. So as far as the Greek mythology is concerned, um, the story states that Orion, which is again a winter constellation, which is below the horizon for mid-northern latitudes right now. So right now it looks like really the Scorpion is chasing Orion, the hunter. Where I said chase that hunter, like the title of this this demonstration. But Orion boasted to the goddess Artemis and her mother Leto, or Leto, for all you Dune fans out there, uh, that he would kill every animal on Earth, and he went around trying to kill every animal on Earth. So Artemis and Leto sent the Scorpion to kill Orion, and the battle caught the attention of Zeus. Um, Zeus raised again both the combatants to the sky to serve as a reminder to the mortals to curb their excessive pride. So that's how they got up there. So in the wintertime, Orion is chasing the Scorpion, and in the summertime, the Scorpion is chasing Orion. So that's some of the mythology there. Everybody knows I like to do a little history lesson in some of these things. So here we go. So Scorpius pick number one is actually three different items in this picture. Um, this is believe it or not, we always talk about the Rho Ophiuchi cloud complex, right? We talk about this in the summertime. It's one of the most famous wide field picture you could get. It's got wonderful golds, blues, reds, all these clouds, and the dark nebula that's, if you go really wide, that streams out like a tail. Pretty cool, right? But little does anybody think about it. If you look at a map, much of Rho Ophiuchi is in Scorpius, including right here, as you see, this would be the gold part of the Ophiuchi star cloud, is Antares, and the gold part right there. That's the gold part of the Rho Ophiuchus. M4, which is the big star cluster in the top left, right up in here, right? Discovered by Philip Lloyd de Chasseau in 1745. However, it was cataloged by Charles Messier in 1764, almost 20 years later. It's over 6,000 light years away, and it spans in a radius of 35 light years. Pretty crazy. Like I said, a lot of Rho is in Scorpius, and this is a picture that I took about 2 years ago. So that's one of the things in Scorpius right there. And then NGC 6147, which is right here. This little cluster right here in the middle, right in the middle of M4 and Antares, a little bit low, there's a little cluster right there. It's only 1 degree away from M4, and it has a very low stellar density. It's only a magnitude of 9.63. Oops, sorry. 9.63. And that's it. So just, it's very, very small, but it's got a nice little halo in there. I thought that was pretty cool. The last thing, and it's the biggest cloud right there, is the Antares Nebula, IC 4606. It's also called LBN 1107. It's a really big H2 region. So an H2 region, for those of you who don't know what an H2 region is, it's a region of hydrogen, right? That's ionized. So that means it's either gaining or losing these electrons and becoming ionized in a molecular cloud of gas, where star formation has been taking place in recent times. So think about that. These H2 regions are basically, little stellar nurseries where stars were formed a long, long time ago. And these H2 regions can range from 1 light year to hundreds of light years across, and from you are my
Destiny.
destiny. You are my density.
Density.
And it can have a density from a few to about 1 million particles per cubic centimeter. How small that is, it's crazy. So it's very, very dense. Pretty cool. Dan Scorpius pick number 2. This is a picture taken by Eric Watson of the Blue Horsehead Nebula. And you can make out
Who's that loser?
Yeah, I don't know. Who is that guy? I don't know, but he's got to remember to put his name across the bottom of the picture.
I did put my name on
across so you can read it.
Oh, so I can read it. Yeah. Okay.
So the Blue Horsehead Nebula is a very cool wide field kind of picture here. It's called the Blue Horsehead because it looks like a blue horsehead. The brightest star is the eye and the snout, and it comes across with some nice. Eric was able to pull out some really nice dark nebula towards the back, so I thought that was pretty cool. It's 420 light years away. It's also a reflection nebula. I think it's an intermediate object as far as imaging is concerned, because not for nothing, it's very Eric. You could hit on this. It's a dark, low brightness nebula.
Yes.
How much time did you put into this?
into that one. That was taken with my Rokinon 135 because it is such a bright, such a wide field object, and I want to say it wasn't a huge amount. It was probably somewhere about 4 or 5 hours
So
on
then
that one.
let me ask you
I
a
could have put
question.
in a lot more.
That was going to be my next question for you. If you were to return to this object with the same setup, the Rokinon 135,
Oh yeah,
and I think is that f1.8 if I remember right.
it is. It
It's
is.
f1.8, so it's pretty
Yep.
fast. Even though it's wide, it's pretty fast. And this is 5 hours of data or thereabouts. So
Yep.
if you were to go back to this object and redo or add more, how much more do you think you would want to add
I
before
would
you said,
probably
maybe I'm
double
done?
it. I'll probably double it.
So 10 to 15, maybe.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there you go. So be prepared to put some time into this object. It's really dim. And if you want to get those nice streamers of the dark nebula that kind of makes its shape into that horse head, be prepared to put some time into this one.
Yep.
It's also pretty low for mid-northern. It's not very high. It's very low. And just remember that if you're shooting at about 40 degrees like me, it may be below some houses by the time you get done. So just be
I
prepared
was
to.
actually lucky enough that that image was done in New Mexico, so I was pretty,
Ah,
so that's how I was able to get that, even for 4 hours. I think,
nice.
so yeah.
Number number three. Number three. And Eric, you know what this is, right?
That is, if I can, let's see, that one is, oh, that's the cat's paw.
Nope.
No, it looks like the cat's paw.
Eric actually
Oh
mentioned.
gosh, I'm drawing a. Dang it! You put me on the spot. I'm drawing a blank.
Eric's got stage right here. So
Yeah, no kidding.
So this is actually something that Eric was making fun of once, because why would you call this the War and Peace Nebula? Why? And
Yes,
and
God,
it's also known as the Lobster
the
Claw.
lobster claw.
Not
God,
I'm sorry, the Lobster Nebula,
lobster.
not the Lobster Claw. The lobster claw was actually the other one. What is that? By the Bubble Nebula over there?
Yeah, I believe so. Yep.
Yeah. So, or it's also called the War and Peace. So I don't know where that comes from, but there you go. I couldn't figure out where that came from. It's NGC 6357. Really cool SHO picture here. This nebula includes also open cluster Pismis 24. Funny name, but it's called Pismis 24. I have a picture of that coming up in a second. It's a diffuse nebula. This photo was made by Galaxies of the Universe on Reddit. So thank you for them for allowing me to use their photo. It's 5,500 light years away. And Pismis 24. Now that's Pismis 24. So Pismis 24 is actually pretty cool, and personally, it kind of resembles to me the Pillars of Creation a little bit, at least one of them. It's pretty kind of cool. And if I go back one photo, it's literally right in the center, right where those bright stars are, is where Pismis 24 is. So if you want to be prepared to have a 12-inch or better to kind of bring out this detail. But it's home to several massive stars, and one of the brightest stars of this cluster is Pismis 24-1, obviously, because like 24 Alpha. Uh, this was supposedly the most massive star in history. Remember, we were talking about solar masses?
Yeah.
Okay. This was approaching 300 solar masses. So try packing 300 of our suns in a little package the size of the sun. That's how massive this thing is. However, recently it was discovered that the Pismis 24-1 was a trinary system, and it's got 3 stars around there, and they still are 100 solar masses each, approximately, which still makes even 100 solar mass star the most massive star on record right now. So pretty cool. All right. And speaking of which, we have the cat's paw. The cat's paw is, of course, the cat's paw. It's in Scorpius, right? NGC 6334. It's an emission nebula. This photo is by Fluxa, as opposed to Flarxa. Yeah. but this is a little bit over 4,000 light years away. And whoops. And I again, another great SHO picture by Fluxa. It's not, it's right in the heart of Scorpius, so don't be afraid to take a shot at this guy. It's a little small, but it's actually a pretty cool. I'm gonna try and get this one next year, not this year. It's gonna be too low for me. Number 5, the Bug. The Bug Nebula. There you go. It's 6302. Now, this nebula, believe it or not, this picture, even though it looks to maybe a tad out of focus here, this was taken with an 11-inch edge, if I remember right, 11-inch SCT. So be prepared to have some long focal length to grab this out. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. This one was not. Yeah, this is the Edge 11. It's the Edge 11. So thank you, Antonio Carlos, for your picture. And 3,400 light years away. And pretty cool, but it's very, very small. If you take a look at NGC 6302 with like, I don't know, like a Takahashi 106 or something, this thing is tiny. So you're going to want to put on some focal length with this one. Lastly, I have my overlooked object pick. And look at how nice this picture is. And not a lot of people image this. This is called the Prawn Nebula. And it's, I think it's pretty, I think it's got some great oxygen, great hydrogen, nice balance. It's 6,000 light years away, and this was taken with the Takahashi 106. So I think it's just a little bit over 500 millimeters in focal length. So you could get some really good imaging on this thing. This image was taken by Dietmar Koch. Another stellar nursery. Remember we were talking about where protostars are born? Well, here you go. You want to do some more protostar stuff, Mark? Look at all the blue stars in there. I mean, they're all young protostars. It's an emission nebula. And I believe that, let's see what else. Okay, so, no, I see 48. No, that's it. So that is my overlooked pick for Scorpius. And that I believe is that.
Nice.
And we are back.
Nicely done, man. I will present mine in a little bit.
Yeah, no problem. So I mean, really cool images and really cool stuff. I know a lot of the stuff in Scorpius we knew about, but that Prawn Nebula, even though that it has been photographed a little bit, but I think it's kind of one of those things that no one ever talks about, and I think it was a kind of cool object to kind of look at.